going with this parasympathetic modulation. But today, I'm also going to show you another breathing exercise. Make sure this is in a series. These 3 videos are in a series. So if you're like, oh, later on, you're like, oh, well, I kind of want to do them in like to see them again, just go under playlists here on YouTube. Just go under playlists and then look for breath work, right? Like breath work series, and that'll be here. So what I want to show you today is, you know how we will push to a certain, but we're going to use your breath work as a lesson too, but also this is stimulating your parasympathetic modulation. Okay. So we already learned about that last time. You know how you'll do things and you're like, okay, this is in weightlifting. When you're working out, you'll get to that last rep and then they'll try to, if you're working with a trainer, they'll try to tell you, okay, do one more. And in your brain, you go, I can't do any more. And they're like, you can do it. Even if they have to kind of assist a little bit. And you push through that last bit because your brain will say, you've reached your limit. Now, listen, you do have to listen to your brain. Like, don't just be like, well, I think I can lift up 850 pounds. I mean, within reason, but this is important that you understand. You push past that where you think that you're exhausted, push past it just a little bit. So that's what we're going to do in today's breath work exercise. So in today's exercise, what we're going to do, I'm going to demonstrate here in a moment, and I've demonstrated this multiple times, but it's important to include this again. You can never have too much reiteration on your mental health, like on the tools. Like it might seem repetitive, but it has to be repetitive. You have to have repetition. That's how we reframe. That's how we go into new habits, right? So what we're going to do, and I'm going to show you, don't do this yet, is I'm going to have you inhale as deep as you can go. Now we are going to exhale out of our mouth, not yet. I'm going to have you inhale, and I mean to where you feel like you can't take any more breath. We're going to pause there, and you're going to do 2 short breaths. Yes, you can do it. Yes, you can. And then you're going to hold it for just a second. And then we're going to exhale in what we call the ujjayi breathing. If you do yoga, you already know ujjayi, but I'll teach that in a minute. So you're going to exhale all the way out. You don't have to exhale to it per 2 breaths. Okay. So this also helps expand out your lungs because as human beings, we don't really breathe. Well, first of all, we never breathe adequately because we're supposed to be breathing from our belly, like a belly breath. We mostly breathe from up here in our chest. But the box breathing, I'm going to show you that I do it with color and visualization is what we'll do in the next video. But this one, I'm going to have you come all the way up as high as you can go. And we're going to force those 2 breaths. So let me demonstrate how that practice is going to look for you. And again, you're going to go slow and methodical. We're going to bump up 2 breaths and we're going to go slow and methodical ujjayi out. So it's going to look like this. Again. Okay, that's your ujjayi breathing. That sort of, think of it as Darth Vader. Darth Vader ujjayi, okay? The Darth Vader breath, but it's the ujjayi breathing. So it's done it's such a cleansing breath. And I know, like I said, if any of you have done yoga or if you watched any yoga videos, you'll see that there's an ujjayi breathing. And it's just, it's amazing for you. It regulates your system, does a lot. So I'm going to have you do that. We're going to do that together now. Okay. Now, when you get to the very top of your breath where you feel like you can't take any more, you got to take 2 bump. We're going to hold it for a second and you're going to ujjayi out. Now it's not, that's not ujjayi. That's not it. It's like you were going like a pant. Okay. So let's do that together. Remember, we're going to go all the way in through our nose slowly. Ready? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So I really like for you to do that once again in 5, 7, 9, 11, something in odd numbers. There's a reason that I'm not sharing with you. It's just, I'll share with you later. It's not important for this video, but so that's the important factor is that you make this part of your daily plan. So when you're doing that, what that shows you is when you think, man, I just got all that breath in, and I force you to do those, or you force yourself to do those 2 little bursts, you're proving to yourself, right? So there's a psychological component to this. You're also proving to yourself that, oh, I could do more than I thought I could. Because see, we as human beings, we do sort of limit ourselves. We really do. We limit ourselves to what we think. All of us do that. It's a human thing. I think, you get to the place where you're like, well, this is all I can do. But if you're forced to do things a little bit more, you start to build your self-confidence. Now, no, do I think that you're just going to do this breath work and then all of a sudden you have confidence for days? No, I don't think so. And I don't think you should either. But I do want you to see how much more control you have. Because a lot of times we get to that top place and we think, oh my God, well, this is it. And the reason we do it slow is I don't want you over there like passing out from hyperventilation. But there's also a belly. We're not going to do that in this series, but there's also like a belly thing where I go, like, I'm not going to have you guys do that one. That's a little bit more advanced breath work. So that's diaphragmic, like rapid breathing. And so I don't want to take you there yet. I'll do one on it later and like why it's good and beneficial, but I want to keep it pretty basic. So you're able to really get the work done that you really want to do. And that's clearing your lungs too. So what I was saying is, as we are shallow breathers, we never really take our lungs to the full capacity, right? And so there's a lot of, so now this is from an energy perspective, there's a lot of kind of stale energy in that whole diaphragm. And like, I do a lot of Kundalini rising, like where you take the serpent up in your chakras, and that's a whole process. Totally different video, but totally different situation. But what happens is when you're not fully breathing, and I mean, we're not just going to walk around town. Could you imagine how funny it'd be healthy, but how funny we'd all look if we were all like, hey, Bill, how's things going? Then, you know what I mean? Like, it'd be a little weird. So yeah, you don't necessarily want to do that, but you want to chart out and carve out those times and days of the times of the day. Good God, for you to be able to focus solely on your breathing, because what you're doing is you're actually regulating out and getting some of that funky energy. So we all have like prana. We all have like this energy, we all have a chi. And what happens is if we're not moving it, if we're not clearing it, if we're not, like I also do Reiki. So it's like, if you're not moving the energy, it's not going to go anywhere. And that's why we also move our body. We move our body, not just for health purposes and cardio purposes, but it's to move energy. And that's an important one. So when you start focusing on movement of energy and you start staying present, you start realizing, wait a minute, I am staying present. You know what I mean? Like you're present. So it's not always like, okay, let me stay present. Like the thing about any type of meditative practice, balanced mindfulness, isn't effort. There's no effort to it. I mean, there's effort because you're doing it, but there's no effort. You're not like, okay, let me be mindful. Sometimes you have to do that, by the way, but let me be mindful. Okay. No, it's going to come as a byproduct of focusing on what you can control, and you can control your breath. Breath work is such a key to keeping your parasympathetic good, to keeping your mental straight, to keeping the high oxygenation in your blood. Like, it does so much. It isn't just about, okay, let's stay calm, let's do those things. No, it goes way deeper than that. And so I think that's the biggest thing for you, is when you start realizing how much power you're just walking around in your human body that you have. Now we're talking. Now we're in a whole different space. And I think that that's the important factor for you, right? Is I want you to allow yourself to move that energy. I want you to allow yourself to be in control of that. And again, give yourself 15, 20, 30 minutes. Make this part of your daily meditative practice. Breath is extremely important in meditation. It's not just about close your eyes, meditate, and go home a few times. No. There's a lot of components to meditation, which is where I think people drop the ball a little bit, or they expect it to be something that it isn't. And there is effort on that end. So I want you to work on that. Let's call it forced breath. It's a forced breath. I love the forced breath. Okay. And it's going to benefit you in so many ways. And let me know what you think about it when you add that and the one we did before, alternate nostril breathing, down here in the comments.